All right, welcome to the 13th edition of the 752 Cup, a tradition here at Riverbend like no other. Augusta has its green jackets, the U.S. Open, well, it has its really tall rough, and of course, Riverbend has Stan Buchek, who can't stay sober on a Saturday. All great traditions. I'm Scott Showery. I'm co-captain of the Blue Team this year here in 2023, and with me is a former Blue Team captain in Ray Thomas. Ray's record in 12 years at the 752 Cup is a stellar 10, 16, and 7. Jesus, Ray.
Well, Scott, I just don't see you tearing it up out there either
It's really
in your
hurtful.
2 years.
Yeah, it's great, Ray. It's really, really hurtful. Words are painful. We haven't even gotten started yet, and he's ripping on me. All right. This year we decided to take a really close look at some of our key members of the 752 teams to find their strengths and weaknesses. Mostly weaknesses.
Well, we already know your weakness out there, athlete.
Yeah. Can you save some of this for everybody else, Ray? I'd really appreciate it.
Well, what did you think? You were going to be immune to this, all of this
Yeah,
abuse?
no, all right. Moving on, Ray. We've got some videos of some of these guys. We've got still shots of everybody else. The guys that we don't have videos or still shots, it's because you guys apparently don't know how to get up at 5:30 in the morning to come play with us on a Saturday morning sometime. Me and Ray, 5:30, here every Saturday.
Yeah, it's a highlight of my weekend, laying eyes on you at 7:30 Saturday morning.
Thanks, Ray. Just as hurtful as the first comment. But before we get started, we do want to thank our sponsor for doing the video here, the Pinnacle Range Ball, because nothing says a great use of dues fees like a rock-hard yellow ball that doesn't even remotely fly like a Titleist.
Doesn't make a lot of difference off the 8th tee, does it?
No.
Splashy McSharry.
Yeah, Ray. We all know my history on number 8. All right. Anyway, let's get started, Ray. Up first, the blue team, 2 years running, champions. Up first, we have 752 Cup rookie Scott Lindberg. Lindberg is a huge Cubs fan, does a great Harry Carey impression.
What, Scotty? Does he sound like Harry?
No, he's just got a severe drinking problem. We really shouldn't be talking about it, actually. Moving on. Next, we've got Dave Upton with some real touch around the greens. We'd have gotten his driver swing, but that's even slower in slow motion, and Ray would need a lot more beer, quite frankly. Blue teamer sophomore Jeff Cross has a secret weapon, Nick Faldo's own Squares shoe and socks, because nothing says elite golfer like shoes from a commercial from the Golf Channel. Slamming Sammy Rhodes is putting here. I won't say anything mean about Sam, as he is God's favorite. He is the fire to my ice, the yin to my yang,
and the silence to your racket.
Dynamite commentary again, Ray. Up next is Ben Bossell. Ben is a second-year vet and a fantastic putter normally. We actually caught him here in a rare miss.
Scotty, he misses about as often as you make.
Not entirely true, Ray, but thank you for pointing that out again. Next swing is that of Blue Team captain Rich Wolf. We had to cut short Cap's pre-swing routine, as talking that much to yourself before a swing could be a sign of mental illness.
Well, Scotty, you'd know all about that.
In any case, Rich has a 7-9-2 record in the Cup, and if he gets to 10 wins, he'll let me drive his vet. He said that, I swear. Ray, you heard that.
The only thing I heard him say was he was wondering why in the world he would have picked you as a co-captain.
Moving on, Ray. Oh, would you look at that? Here we have my co-host, Ray Thomas. Pretty good setup there, Ray. Looks clean. Oof, Ray, I'm really unfamiliar with the hands on my hips follow through. Where did you pick that up from?
Buddy, I made par. What happened to you?
I really don't see how that's relevant, Ray. Well, that's all the video we have of the blue teamers. We do have some snapshots of them. That's the best that we could do at this point. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at that, Ray.
Okay. Scotty, really, is that all you got for the blue team? Will you wait for a lesson on the 275-yard drive and the shank wedge?
It just never stops with you, Ray. Just hateful meanness all along. I don't need a lesson for those things, Ray. Some things just come naturally. All right, guys, let's take a look. Here we have blue team favorite Smokin' Joe Fletcher. Fletcher early in the part of his downswing, really powerful, and then the finish. Look at that picture, dear Lord.
Scotty, that ain't going to end up in anybody's golf tech lesson
That is
video.
No doubt right there. Then we have Kurt Wendt. Kurt rolls in from Asia to come play with us. It's not the slightest bit shocking that a man wearing a hat like that has to go to Asia to get a woman to see him naked. Whew, soup factor of 11. Steve Allender is next. Stevie is just about 50% in the win totals. 50%. That's just about his blood alcohol level on a Friday night around here, isn't it, Ray?
I'd say that's a little bit conservative, Sparky.
Here we have Wade Upton, blue team member, wearing yellow with a 10, 20, and 3 record in the Cup. It isn't the shirt. That's the only thing we need to work on, apparently, with Wade. Tommy Tees is seen here. Tom has a record that rivals that of Republicans in California after Reagan left the state. However, Tom is eternally hopeful that he can turn it around, much like the Republicans in really any fucking state lately. Here we have Job and Kevin Palm, doing on the golf course what they do best. Drink heavily and smoke cigars. Now, in fairness, Job's restaurant is a perfect place for an after-round pizza to soak up the insane amounts of booze that these two can put down. That is just great fucking planning. And of course, lastly, for the blue team, we have me, Scott Shirey, with a 500 record since joining the Cup 2 years ago. This year looks to be even better. Ray, look at the athleticism through the golf ball on that. Have you ever seen anything like that in your life?
Oh, I don't think so, Shari. Real athletic. What'd you make on both of those holes, by the way?
I don't really recall, Ray. All right, well, that's the blue team in a nutshell. We're going to head over and break down the red team right now, captained by Jake Barrientos. The Reds are looking to snap that losing streak and stop the bleeding. That Ray, red team, stop the bleeding. Really funny stuff. Good stuff, Ray.
That's you really missed your calling there, Jimmy Nance.
Jesus, Ray, you're so mean to me. All right, let's roll it. First up for the Reds, John Thayer. John, one of the founding team members, has a record of 21, 12, and 3. Ridiculous considering that April is where he spends the month trying to keep most of these bastards at Riverbend out of jail for tax evasion. Here we have Mark Hobson. Mark is known as the COVID kid to those who play with him. Why? Take a look at that swing and it will infect you like a virus. Good luck getting that finish out of your brain for the next shot. Craig Harris has been at this for 9 years. Craig is one of the fastest players here, you'll find, mainly because with a swing like that, you pick up pretty regularly. Next is Rick Mullman. You have to admire Rick's spirit playing golf. The man has $2,000 irons from PXG and breaks 90 about once a year. I don't know if that's spirit or insanity. OG Red Teamer Dan Corson has a winning record in the Cup, and that's mostly due to the fact that he plays more golf in a year than anyone else at the club plays in 5 years. We on the blue team can't wait until his grandson Blake is old enough to play in the event so he can play on the blue squad. Should make Thanksgiving a real hoot when Blake refuses to pass the potatoes because Dan made him putt out a 3-footer. Omar Garcia has a rough go of it in the Cup since he started. The man has won one time in his 2 years. As a man with no hair myself, it pleases me to see that a man with hair this glorious loses at something in life occasionally. Mark Fuller is a co-captain of the Red Team this year, as well as a real estate mogul. As you can see here, the only thing shorter than Fuller's backswing is the time it takes for him to return a call from a buyer's agent with clients from Chicago after this last election. Tim Linehan is a Red Teamer that is reliable as the range being closed on a Saturday morning after a rain shower. That came on Thursday. Tim is getting close to retirement this year, which means he'll be on a fixed income. Buyers of buckets, saddle up.
Hey, and by the way, Scotty, word to the wise, don't get in back of him if he's backing up a golf cart.
Yeah, I heard.
Especially if your name's John Thayer.
I've heard about that. And of course, wherever Tim is, Red Teamer Bob Taylor is not far behind. People living with David Koresh and Waco weren't as closely connected together as these two. Sure, Bob missed this putt. Son of a bitch didn't miss anything when he kicked my ass last year. Next guy, his good son, Steven. Look at that downswing. Steve hits the ball so hard, prosecutors are looking into it to see if it's actually a hate crime. And what would the 752 be without old Sparky? Craig Stevens has been working at this game, at this Cup for so long, he's blowing out golf shoes now. You have to admire a guy who can show up 30 seconds after the last group is called to tee off and shoot in the 80s. Pisses me right the hell off every time. After 12 years, this is what the downswing of Colin Campbell looks like. No wonder his record is more upside down than the credit rating of half the members at Riverbend. Jack Flores has a great record at the Cup. Really come through last year with 2 wins. However, his leadership as Red captain previously was about as clutch as Aaron Boone last year for the Yankees in the playoffs. Hell, maybe it was the win then, too. Doc Dennis Halford did a great job last year as captain of the Red team, falling just short of a win. I'm really proud of Doc. As a dentist, he spent his life shoving his hands in people's mouths. Hell, some of them even asked him to. Which brings us to this year's captain, Jake Barrientos. Jake has done a great job putting his team together and trying to get fat people to quit ending up as patients on my OR table. Jake also has a backswing that is longer than one of Rodney's stories about what Trump did in 4 years of office, and neither of them look like they're going to end once they get started. And lastly, well, we all know that golf ball anywhere. It's the only man whose golf ball will most likely end up getting sued for sexual harassment when it's found in the ladies' locker room mysteriously, quote unquote. Stan and Craig started this event 13 years ago, and with a record of 23 wins by Stan, he's a tough out, which is exactly what Tammy says when she's trying to get him out of the club's bar on a Friday night. So there you have it, a slate of red team and blue teamers that really Ray and I feel comfortable mocking. Well, quite frankly, it's because it's done in the spirit of competition and really the lack of me having anything to do while watching the Masters this year. But Ray, what do you think we'll see as an outcome this year?
Oh, Scotty,
Jesus.
come to think of it, you nearly having a stroke on the 17th green is a pretty solid bet.
Ray, it's always a pleasure spending time with you. All right, that's it for us. We'll see you guys next year.